the thumb of approval.
With the reports, we got it all inside, covering all of the sports. Let you know what to watch for the best of the week. Everything Arkansas from the best on the beat. When the latest news breaks, you know we go live. Let you know what's going on. Check the chat for the vibe. Inside Arkansas, John, Andrew, and Curtis. Best most talk in the state. Number one with the coverage. If you love the Razorbacks and want to be in the know, you gotta be inside Arkansas and follow the pros. Razorback updates with intern Reagan. Talking all of the players, you know what to do if you love those hogs. Follow Inside Arkansas, cause we know ball. Inside Arkansas, we know ball. Inside Arkansas, the best in the biz. Always standing on business, tell it just how it is. Inside Arkansas, you know what to do if you love those hogs. Follow Inside Arkansas, cause we know ball.
Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon as we are live from Blue Ember Smokehouse here in Rogers at 1723 West Pleasant Grove Road. And fellas, you know, it's always great to do live on location shows, but the first Wednesday of every month, we have the pleasure of coming here to Blue Ember Smokehouse, doing a live show at lunchtime. Already have a packed out house here, getting great barbecue vibes. I always ask how the vibes are, but I know how the vibes are. They're high anytime we're at Blue Ember Smokehouse.
Yes, they are. Already had some burn-ins, so off to a good start. We didn't make the mistake of waiting until after the show to get a little bit of grub. I like your idea, Andrew, of we'll get a little bit before and a little bit after. That's pretty solid to me. But no, it's good to be back out here. Enjoy coming out here. I saw that me saying that we got Cameron's thumb of approval was on the live, so that's good. We're off to a good start. Everybody heard that, and well, here we are.
Possible, but okay, all right.
I just appreciate that you guys didn't make fun of me for saying that. I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a pre-show snack, and then I came back with a half pound of burn-ins, and y'all didn't shame me for that, and I appreciate that. You know, I was thinking about it. I thought it felt like whenever I realized, hey, Blue Ember Day today, I was like, man, it feels like we were just there, you know? Like, it feels like it was just yesterday. But now I'm really thinking about it. We were talking transfer portal football. We had all those commitments in the middle of the show. Like, a lot has happened since our last trip to Blue Ember, and where we find ourselves in a little bit of a weird spot with this basketball team.
Yeah, I mean, that's what makes this a perfect time is what better way to get through a weird spot than have some great barbecue. So, again, if you want to come out and hang out with us during lunchtime, I mean, they're open for lunch most days of the week. And they also have great spots to do catering. They have a lot of great things that are going on that we can't wait to feast on. We won't do it during the show because we're professionals, but at some point in time, we're definitely going to dive into it, and we're going to tell you more about the great stuff they have going on here at Blue Ember Smokehouse. But we'll get into everything that's going on in the Razorback landscape. We'll also, of course, talk about some of our heavy hitters, get to some of your chats, as we know all of you are really great and really nice and everything, so I can't wait to do all that. But, yeah, you talk about the interesting spot that you're in. I know basketball is still a lot on people's minds right now as far as the direction where it's going and how things are feeling. And, of course, you had some SEC games last night, some more SEC games. It's kind of nice just to kind of stand back and look at, hey, what are some other teams going through? Hey, look at Ole Miss and Chris Beard getting ejected. Hey, how about that? You know, it's like kind of nice to be like, well, it could be worse. You know, it's not great, but it could be a lot worse for Arkansas when you look at some of these other SEC teams right now.
Yeah, it's I'm with you because I always enjoy whatever night of the midweek that Arkansas doesn't play. I just sit down and I watch all the games at once. And I was tapped in for the most part to Ole Miss, Tennessee. The Texas-South Carolina game, I did not watch a single second of it.
Why not?
Did not watch a second of that game. Listen, I know that I host an SEC basketball show. Oops, I'm not going to have a big breakdown for that one, but I'm excited about these games tonight for sure. Texas A&M and Alabama, that's a big one, man, to see what Texas A&M is really about. Is Alabama completely a fraud? I guess we'll learn about that. And then Oklahoma and Kentucky, like you would think that's one that Kentucky would just be able to handle their business at home, but there's a lot of trap game qualities to that one. So I'll at least watch in the beginning to see if it's going to be interesting. If not, I'll check out of it. But only 4 games on the midweek because I guess a bunch of teams are doing their bye this particular week, and then we'll get back after it on Saturday, which the Saturday slate is pretty solid too.
Yeah, it always helps. When you're coming off a win especially, you always feel so much better when you watch other teams play. And you're kind of sitting there comparing, could our guy be better than that guy? And you're kind of watching these teams go through some of the things that you go through. Because I think when you're a Razorback fan or when you're a fan of any team, you're so caught up in your mess and your problems and your things that are going on. And you kind of forget that literally everybody's going through a lot of these same things, especially you look around the SEC, just not a ton of margin between even the top 5 or 6 teams and the bottom 5 or 6 teams. I mean, we watched that firsthand in Norman last week. It is nice to have this week where you can kind of look and poke holes in everyone else while you're sitting over here throwing rocks from your glass house. But I think this Razorback team definitely needed this reset. And at least in the terms of the SEC, it does help kind of looking at some of these other teams and realizing I don't see a ton of loaded rosters that are just perfect, well-rounded. I mean, even Florida's had their ups and downs a little bit. And so I think this week is cool, and it's nice to know that we're not in the line of fire this week. Nothing bad can happen until Saturday, and so I'm definitely enjoying watching some basketball tonight.
Yeah, because it's just a nice little a refresher, correct things, get things back into neutral, refresh the engines, and check out all these other teams that get to play and try to either make their situation worse or make their situations better right now. But Arkansas, of course, is going to be playing against Mississippi State. So, hey, that's your reward for your week off. You get to go to Stark Vegas down there at 11 a.m. and you get to have that that approach and all that. But I know we'll talk about this in a second, guys, because there was this thing about coaches' rankings in the college basketball in the SEC, which we'll have to dive into. But I guess when I'm watching it from like what it was a year ago to where it is now in the SEC, we all know it's not as good as what it was a year ago. But am I bad at thinking that it's so bad? Like maybe it's just because I'm comparing it to last year that's so bad. But like, how did it go so awry for the SEC from where a year ago? I mean, it was the best conference in the land, and it was incredible to see the amount of great teams. Obviously, none of them won the championship or anything like that. Well, Florida did. Sorry, Florida won the championship, but none of the other teams that maybe people thought about would win ended up winning it. But like, how did it go so awry so quickly for teams like an Ole Miss or like these other teams that were really solid teams, even made the Sweet 16 last year?
They're all gone. All the good players are gone. That was the interesting thing last year was so many of these schools had a bunch of guys returning. Florida had Walter Clayton and a bunch of those guys who were back. And, Tennessee had Zakai Ziegler for his 10th year, and Meshack and all those other dudes were running it back. You had a whole lot of retention from teams that were already really good a year before. And it was Arkansas and Kentucky that kind of had the full roster makeovers. And this year it's almost the opposite, right? Like Florida's got their front court back. Arkansas had their 4 returners who haven't met the expectations so far this year, but there's so much newness that I think that's kind of impacted things. And it's still a good league. Like if you go look at it, top to bottom, there's still an argument to be made that the SEC maybe the deepest league top to bottom, but they're not as top heavy as they were. I don't think you look at the SEC and go, oh yeah, there's a for sure Final Four contender. Oh, I could see them having 2 teams in the Final Four this year. No, it's not like that at all. In fact, we don't even know if they're going to have a team that's a top 3 seed, but they're going to have a bunch who are like 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s this year. They'll probably still get 10 teams or so in the NCAA tournament. But it's, if you go look at the Big 12 or the Big 10, that's where you start to really see the title contenders. But yeah, still a good league, just a drop off. I think it's because of a lot of newness.
Yeah, I can't wait for the tournament so we can really figure out, how good are a lot of these teams. And I know there were some big matchups, big marquee matchups early in the season, but you really think about it, a lot of these top SEC teams, there were some hits and there were some misses, but like they held their own for the most part. Tennessee has a win over Houston. Florida was very close in a lot of those matchups. Like they very well could have a win over Arizona on their resume, but I think you're 100% right that not having those top teams that you just know are bona fide, legitimate contenders, when you have something like that, it kind of keeps the rest of the league honest. And, of course, the SEC last year had so much depth, but having those teams like an Auburn, Auburn for so much of the year set a standard in the SEC last year. Florida ended up, of course, setting the standard at the end. Tennessee, there were so many teams that just top to bottom had such a good roster that you knew you can count on. That brings out the best in you. There's a little bit of that iron sharpens iron, but I feel like everyone kind of knew. When Arkansas was sitting there at 0-5 in SEC last year, part of why it freaked us out so bad is because we knew how damn good the conference was and how hard all these games were going to be. And so it kind of forces you to bring the best out of your roster, where right now I feel like, we look at all these SEC teams, we go into every game kind of being like, well, this team's not that great. Well, this team's not that great. Let's just hope we're motivated for this one. I think there's a mental battle there where I don't know if the actual league is like way worse. On paper, they are a little bit, but it's like, I think a lot of it is like the margins are pretty small, but us kind of having this perception of, oh yeah, these teams aren't elite teams. It doesn't necessarily bring out the best version of your squad.
So I need to ask this because I should know this. Who won the regular season last year in the SEC? Was it Alabama?
Was it Auburn?
Or Auburn?
Or was it Florida?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Maybe. I don't remember Auburn losing many games.
Yeah.
I only remember Auburn losing the
tournament. Like I saw off the top of my head.
I definitely couldn't tell you who won the damn tournament.
Florida.
Okay, so Florida. So this is the point I'm making. I'm like, that's how good it was to where it's like, I'm trying to remember just off the top of my head. I'm like, well, man, it could have been Bama because they were really good. It could have been Auburn because they were really good. Could have been Florida because they were really good. We know it wasn't Arkansas. I mean, it was just, it's crazy to think back where, and this year, it's like, it's still up at the top. It's still up for debate on who's going to be the best team.
No, Auburn did win it, actually.
Okay, so there you go. Yeah, so Auburn, at 15-3.
15-3. They were one game up.
Florida at 14-4, and then Alabama 13-5. So had no ties. How about that?
A&M won 11 and that's right. They sucked in non-conference.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Don't even please respect Wade Taylor. All right.
I'm not respecting Wade. I will not respect.
Why do you get surprised that Wade Taylor went 11 and? No, I'm just kidding. Man.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, it's like, speaking of not randomly, but Buzz Williams might suck. I'm just saying, Maryland, it's not going too well.
They are going through it for sure. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Because there were 3 teams tied at 10-8, and then there were 4 teams tied at 8-10. And all of them made the NCAA tournament last year. So
that's crazy,
including Texas and Oklahoma, who are both 6-12 in the league. I'm telling you right now, 6-12 ain't going to get it done this year.
No, but that just shows you how.
Frankly, it shouldn't have got it done last year. Let's be honest.
Yeah, well, that just shows you again how crazy it's changed, and where this year. In fact, I would say that if you have a losing record in SEC play, you're probably not going to get in
this year, unless it'd have to be a specific team. I don't know. Is there anybody in the league that has such a good non-conference that could maybe afford to? I don't think Arkansas.
What about Bama? Do you think? Because. Not that
they had some good wins.
Yeah, they've helped themselves, and they played a really good schedule.
Beat Illinois.
Yeah, they beat Illinois. They kind of got popped by a few teams there. I think they were one of the 15 SEC teams that beat St. John's. Everybody in the SEC besides Arkansas beat St. John's in non-conference play.
Arkansas set that. They made it cool.
They broke Rick Pitino.
Yeah,
for sure.
they beat him when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
They beat him when it mattered the most. So. But the SEC is just a crazy thing. But I'll tell you what's even crazier, guys, is job rankings when it comes to this. I thought this was fascinating. You retweeted this, Curtis. We got to talk about it because before I pull up the graphic, could we all agree that if you're ranking the jobs in college basketball in the SEC, Arkansas is number 2? Do we agree with that? Or
yes.
I mean, we can hear arguments, but do we all think it's number 2?
Sure. Exactly. I would hear arguments, but I'd say number 2.
Okay. Yeah. And we all agree, though, that Kentucky is number 1, as much as we hate to say it. It is number 1.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
So we agree with that. You know what is not a team that you can really make an argument for in our minds? Texas. I'm going to remove the banner. Sorry, Blue Ember. We'll bring it back in a second. But this is the graphic that got brought up where the field of 68 had, I guess, talked with or had coaches vote on it, or however you want to put it, of the top jobs in the SEC. Kentucky's number 1 makes sense. Texas number 2 and Arkansas number 3. Curtis, I know you're the basketball guy. Can you make sense out of any of this? Can you find any sort of argument to where you're like, yeah, Texas for sure, number 2 in the basketball landscape in the SEC?
Yeah, what I've had to do is keep in mind that it's the job rankings. It's not best programs or whatever. So there's a lot of different things that go into that. I don't think that Texas checks all the boxes to be up there in the discussion with Arkansas and Florida and some of those others, but they do check some of them. And the thing about Goodman's poll is it's not like his thoughts. It's not his opinion. They asked a bunch of coaches in the league, assistants, head coaches, whatever, and they got these results. So we were talking about it off air, but I think it's a couple things. One, we know they have money down there. Like, there's no doubt about it. They got a brand new arena. That's appealing. That's good to recruit to. Austin, good area, good location. That makes sense. I get it. They've got plenty of NIL. So do a lot of these other schools in the SEC. But I almost wonder how much of it is there's just not a lot of pressure on you as the head basketball coach at Texas. Nobody cares. People would rather watch Arch Manning go 8-4 than watch that basketball team. But like they don't have the fan support. They don't have the history and the tradition and all those things. But if I'm a coach and I'm voting on this, I would say, damn, so I could go coach there. I could make a lot of money. I could get a lot of NIL to pay my players, and I could live in Austin, have this new arena. But if I don't win a national championship in 2 years, I'm not getting fired. They're not sweating me for that. I think that's why a coach would vote it that way, whether I agree with it or not.
Yeah, I can definitely, like, that would have to be the basis of the argument, is just like the non-pressure thing. But I would flip that around and just be like, I think the lack of fan support is why I wouldn't go with Texas. And frankly, the fact that Texas is obviously one of the biggest brands in college football, hell, you can make an argument for Texas #1 if we were ranking college football jobs.
Sure.
I think that actually kind of hurts your basketball brand and your basketball perception. Not a crazy extent. Like, obviously, you can get great players to go to Texas. You can have great teams at Texas. I don't know if Texas is super, like, as a community, I don't think they're super committed to making sure basketball is good. Whereas I do think that kind of sets Arkansas apart, especially in this new era. Like, if this were 15 years ago, it'd be harder to make this argument for Arkansas. I think we've now reached a point where it's like, I don't think the fan base will accept a bad basketball team, and that includes some of the rich people in the fan base that will not accept a bad basketball team. As much as you can look at that and say, well, that puts pressure on you, how many people have we seen really get fired at Arkansas? Mike Anderson got fired, but it was a long time, and he only made the NCAA tournament 2 or 3 times. You know what I mean? I think that I would use that at that fan support side, and I'd be like, I think that actually helps Arkansas over Texas. And then if we're talking about arenas, which does matter in this context, atmosphere and arena, I mean, that's a blowout, Yeah. I would go with Florida over Texas, frankly, and they're at 5 on that list.
Well, what's funny, too, is, I kind of made the joke of, like, well, maybe it's just the former Texas coaches in the SEC, like Chris Beard and Rick Barnes, that are like, man, I love my time in Texas. I wish I was still there. I wish it still worked out. I don't think that's the case, but still, there is at least a connection. But, yeah, having Texas at #2 is just, I don't know. I'm like, either they just assume, like you said, Curtis, just money. Just money. That's it. And therefore, it's the best job. Because I was trying to think, even in our lifetime, when we've really been watching college basketball, Texas had some good teams, especially with Rick Barnes. I think they went to the Final Four in 2003. Was it Abrams that was the point guard on that team?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was really good. Of course, we know Kevin Durant went there.
DJ Augustine was over there.
Yeah. There's another guard.
I feel like there was a lot of AJs, TJs, JJs.
They went to a stretch
TJ Ford.
TJ Ford.
They
Yeah.
also went to a stretch with big men where you had Jared Allen, you had Mo Bamba,
Yep. Dexter Pittman.
There was another big man that they had
Jackson
recently.
Hayes.
Jackson Hayes was over there. Yeah, they really had like 5 centers in 7 seasons or something like that. They got drafted.
Yeah. So, but again, Kevin Durant was there. We know that he was really good. And they had some good teams and everything, but I never looked at Texas as like, oh yeah, that's a really good basketball job. It kind of reminds me of like LSU basketball in a way.
Yeah.
They've had more success, but it's like you're good in everything else. In basketball, I just don't understand why you haven't been that good.
I mean, you just rattled off like 9 good players that played in the NBA. How many of them went to a Sweet 16? Maybe 1 or 2 of them.
Not many.
How many of them went to a Final Four? Any of them? I genuinely I know Kevin Durant didn't go that far. I think he got bounced in the first round by Swaggy P.
Yeah,
Like a lot of those guys didn't have great years or great teams around them. So it's like, as much as you can point to those players, it's like none of them really had a ton of success.
I will say it is a little bit noteworthy because these are coaches ranking the best jobs. Sure. And it's been an interesting run. Like, they had Rick Barnes there for the longest. Then they went and plucked Shaka Smart when he was his hottest, Now it didn't work out. And that's probably like you could look at both sides of the arrangement there and understand why that was the case. Then they went and got Chris Beard, and I think they were onto something, and they plucked Chris Beard from that Texas Tech situation. That was great. Remember the vitriol about all that? Like, that was crazy, man. And then Texas was able to go get him. So that kind of shows how they can flex their money and the perception of that job and everything. But the way, they had that fallout, and I think that's a hit. That was Chris Beard's fault, but then they had to mess around with Rodney Terry for a couple years. Yeah. I think Sean Miller is going to do a good job there, but what would it have looked like had Chris Beard kept his hands to himself and had that team? Because they almost made the Final Four anyway, like with Rodney Terry, and that's a major liability. He was a worse liability as a coach than he is as a broadcaster. So I don't know, man.
Well,
but
and listen, I think there's a lot of pressure on Archie Miller's tenure, because if you look at it, Texas is in danger of becoming the Auburn of basketball, where we always list Auburn as a top job in football, but if Golish's tenure sucks, then you'd be sitting there saying, man, that's 3 straight coaches that were just an abject disaster. Obviously, Beard wasn't a disaster, and I agree. He was very close to having them rolling, but it's like you'd start looking at it and say, damn, you hired Shaka Smart, who nobody, like that was the number 1 guy at that time. It didn't work out. You hired Chris Beard, who was the number 1 guy at that time. It didn't work out. Archie Miller's not the number 1 guy in his staff or in his class or whatever, but it's like if it doesn't really work out in a big way with him, I think you have to ask a real question of like, at what point is it just maybe the program doesn't have that eye of a ceiling?
Yeah, and I want to continue to talk about it, but reminder, folks, that we are here at Blue Ember Smokehouse in Rogers, and want to remind everybody that they got the Smokehouse. It's a new feature for $69.99. Nice, right? Feeds 4 to 6 people. You get 2 choices. You get your choice of 2 meats, which is a full pound each. So that's a lot of meat there. But you also brisket, being $5 more. You get pulled pork, pulled chicken, turkey breast, sausage, pork belly burn ends, which you know Andrew's a big fan of, smoked bologna. They have it all right here. And you'll be able to have not only that, but you get a choice of 2 sides, which is a quart each, baked beans, green beans, mac and cheese, potato salad, and slaw, 6 buns or toast. You get your choice on that as well. Then the courtside side options, chips and mango habanero, the whole works. So, I mean, you get so much food that feeds 4 to 6 people for just $70. And don't forget, they have nachos on Mondays, tacos on Tuesdays, and then the $5.99 chicken sandwich on Friday. So every day that you come here to Blue Ember Smokehouse, it's an awesome spot and it's an awesome occasion. And they got 6 different locations in the state of Arkansas you got to try out as well. So it's good to be out here as well. But, continue on the discussion, though. I guess this leads into it. When we say that it's Arkansas and it's the number 2 job, is it something that is just easy to point to and say, like, this is why Arkansas is the best job? Like, I mean, because here's why I'm saying it. People will be like, kids these days, they don't understand. But Florida's won 3 national championships in the past 20 years. I mean, surely they're better than Arkansas. Arkansas hadn't even sniffed a Final Four. So why do we believe still, even they haven't had the next level success as some other of these programs, why is Arkansas still the second best job according to us?
Because I think they check every box. Maybe not as high as some of the other jobs in particular areas, but they literally check every single one of them. They have a national title. They have 6 Final Fours, which is tied for the second most. Obviously, Kentucky has a ton, but I think Florida also has 6 Final Fours. The arena, the support, the NIL, the resources, the coaching tree, the recruiting. Look at the number of McDonald's All-Americans. Look at the 5-star recruits that they've been able to get. And then the recency of success. I mean, it is 4 Sweet 16s and a couple Elite 8s in the last 5 years. You would have loved for Arkansas to get to a Final Four, but there's a high level of respect for the program as it stands right now. So if you look at every single criteria that would make you want to take a job, Arkansas checks all those boxes. And that's why they have John Calipari right now. Because I saw somebody, I think it was Katz, he was like, Cal almost went to Texas. He almost did, but he didn't. He did come to Arkansas. And that's enough for me right there to put Arkansas ahead of Texas in the job market. But no, I think they check every single box.
Well, listen, a lot of times, you take a program when they're at their worst stretch and you try and evaluate it, or you take them at their best and you try and evaluate it. Like, there's a lot of room in between. Like, obviously, it's not always going to be what it was in the 90s. It's also not going to be what it was when it was Stan Heath and John Pelfrey. But I think Mike Anderson's tenure kind of shows you, if you are just a living, breathing human being who shows up to work on time, you can have Arkansas at minimum as a 9 seed in the NCAA tournament. If you just sit there and recruit the guys that are in your state, don't put in any effort whatsoever, don't use any money, don't use any NIL, don't pull out any stops, you can have Arkansas as like a NCAA tournament team year in and year out roughly. And I think Eric Musselman kind of showed you, hey, there's a little bit more meat on that bone, and now we'll see what John Calipari's able to do. I'll be honest with you guys. Florida is the one that I would maybe concede, where I would if Florida fans came in and said, hey, actually, we think we're the second best one, I wouldn't argue with them too bad. You got 3 national championships in my lifetime. That's pretty notable to me, and kind of shows you the ceiling they have. But I also think Arkansas's football program, being what it is, does kind of help Arkansas basketball. One, because you have the fans who in mid-October are going, it's time for basketball, let's do this thing. But you also don't feel overshadowed, where I feel like in a lot of it, Kentucky football, by the way, part of why Kentucky football is never viewed the way that it is because you're going to be overshadowed by basketball. And I think there's a lot of programs like LSU. They're never going to have, even if they had the greatest coach in the world in basketball, it would be overshadowed by football. Same kind of goes for Bama and Auburn, which is why I think currently I have Arkansas safely ahead of those as a basketball job.
I love how so many people now are in the comments talking about, well, Texas didn't have the chicken man. Well, but John Tyson, that's why yeah,
that's part of it.
That is a huge part of this discussion.
Welcome to college athletics.
What are we talking about? Like that,
Right.
that is a feather in the cap for why this is a great job.
Correct.
Why would Arkansas be ahead of Texas in the job rank? Because they have more billionaire boosters who are willing to pony up and get a Hall of Fame coach. Yeah, that's right. That's a thing.
Well, and this is the way I look at it when it comes to programs and jobs and everything like that. Because I'll admit the Florida thing, even when Billy Donovan was there and he won those championships, there was still not a second in my mind where I said Florida could have an argument. Because in my opinion, there was so much about these teams where it's about the coach at the program. It's not about the program.
Sure.
It's about the coach at that program. Because if you look before, I think Lon Kruger was there at Florida. They went to a Final Four maybe in 94, 95. Same time Arkansas did. But it's like I never looked at it that way. But as soon as they had a different coach win a title, that changes everything. Because to me, as a program, look at Arkansas. They are one of very, very, very few programs that have 3 Hall of Fame coaches that have coached here, with Eddie Sutton, Nolan Richardson, and now John Calipari. And then even besides that, I hope you get into the Hall of Fame, but you still had a really great coach in Eric Musselman. You had some solid coaches. Mike Anderson, he's not, but he was a solid coach. He has an Elite 8. He has a couple Sweet 16s. My point is like, that's to me is what defines how good of a program you have. Is not, well, we had that one coach that was really good for that one time. It's like, no, you had multiple coaches who did multiple things, had multiple successes. And that's where Florida with Todd Golden, when they won that, I'm like, yeah, they know how to do something there. They've unlocked something there that can really help them win at the highest level.
Well, in college sports, these things change literally. The landscape changes every year. And so honestly, it's an ever evolving thing. If we had this conversation 20 years ago, Florida would have been a footnote in it, but all of a sudden now you rattle off a couple really good stretches. I also think it's fair to acknowledge that this conversation is different because John Calipari came to Arkansas. That elevated the
1000%.
job. Whoever Arkansas hired, you think they're just going to hire some random MAC coach after John Calipari leaves? Like, they're going to have a chance to hire a massive name. That elevates a little bit. What Eric Musselman and John Calipari have done in the decisions they made, 1,000% kind of solidified, I feel like, Arkansas back to being one of those like not blue blood, but like frontline SEC basketball jobs.
Well, to your point as well, you think about it. When Arkansas hired Eddie Sutton, he was coming from Creighton. Didn't have any high-level success, but he elevated his status at Arkansas. Nolan Richardson, we know. It was a huge risk at the time of hiring an African-American coach in the South who had a NIT title and a junior college title after replacing Eddie Sutton, but it worked out. Like, these are guys that you hired at a time where they elevated and ascended into the Hall of Fame status that they were at while at Arkansas. Now, Eddie Sutton went on to coach at Oklahoma State. I think he went to a Final Four there. Didn't work out for him at Kentucky. There's some things there, but still, it got elevated. That's what makes the Cal thing such a crazy factor. Even Muss, too, ascended into the Cal's like, this is not me dogging on Arkansas, but it's like, it just still reminds me of how insane it was that he took this job and at the status that he did. Because, Bill Self, I don't think he's going to go and coach anywhere else. Whenever Kansas and that run ends, it's ending. Coach K did the same thing. Roy Williams, Tom Izzo, all these iconic, legendary Hall of Fame coaches. But to see what Cal did is extraordinary, and to come to Arkansas is extraordinary. I don't know what the next few years are going to hold. Hopefully it's a Final Four. Hopefully it's a national championship at least. But it just wasn't a thing where he kept ascending. But it also wasn't a thing where he got fired and just needed a job. It was, I know I can go there, rejuvenate myself, redo some things, and get back after it. And I think that's why it's amazing to, again, go back to the whole point, why Arkansas is one of the bbest jobs in the SEC and number 2 in my book.
Yeah, no, 100%, man. And again, like we talk about all of it, and I think they check all the boxes. Ben is he's just having a hard time with the John Tyson and Cal thing. And he says, I agree about the support, but current support is an outlier. No, it's not. The Hunts funded Muss, and everybody in the SEC was pissed about the amount of NIL that he had until he burned those bridges. That's going to be a thing. Arkansas, it's very widely known that Kentucky has the most percentage of rev share in the SEC. Then there's a gap. Then there's Arkansas. Then there's another big gap. And then there's everybody else. There are a lot of resources. You don't have to put everything into one pot. And that's what makes this thing about Arkansas true, is that they don't have to be overly reliant on John Tyson to fund the entire operation. He's not funding the entire operation right now.
Right. And also, real quick to your point, too, where did those Burger Boys at Muscat, Anthony Black, Nick Smith,
right?
They
think they're coming for free.
Yeah, like
yeah.
What do you mean?
Come on now.
I can understand, like, during the Mike Anderson days, and I'm not, because it's different. Mike Anderson, the biggest players Mike Anderson got were just guys that were Razorbacks, like Bobby Portis.
Yeah.
If there would have been, and I'm not hating on Mike Anderson at all, but if you would have had a different coach, a different circumstance, you would have gotten a Malik Monk. You would have gotten, but those guys were not going to come here and be like, you know what, I'm getting this amount of money in Kentucky, but you know what, I'm just going to go to Arkansas. It's like, no, you got to look at it from that lens too, to where like it's an appealing job where coaches to the caliber, like Muss was wanting this job so bad. He may have wanted this job more than Sam Pittman wanted the football job.
Yeah.
Because he was wanting it so bad. There's a desire because like, I know I'm confident in myself as a coach. I can walk in there and win. And that to me is like, that's power you can't buy.
The dude, he came over from Nevada. And unless you were, and it's not like he was a household name in the NBA when he was coaching there. And so, you know what I mean? Like he came and leveled it up.
Sure.
And that's been able to sustain. So like, is John Tyson the reason why Cal came? Sure. Yeah, that's a huge part of it. But he's not the reason why this is a successful operation. Whether John Tyson was here or not, Cal would have considered this had Muss not come and leveled this thing up to the level that he did.
Well, and also, going back to Mike Anderson, nobody in the SEC outside of Kentucky and maybe Florida would have fired their coach with Mike Anderson's results. Not that he lit it up or whatever, and I want to clarify this because Paddlefish says he didn't make the tournament every year, Andrew. Which is not what I said. I just meant if you are Mike Anderson, who did nothing pretty much, he had Arkansas either in the tournament or in the NIT or in that bubble. I think his worst year, they went like 17-15 or whatever.
They never had a losing record.
Never had a losing record. They were always a fringe tournament team, which is what I'm saying is like the baseline, you know, and the part of why he got fired is because we all understood you have all the resources, you have all the fan support, you have the best arena in college basketball. We looked at his results, which were at every other SEC school would have been fine. We were like, that's not enough because we knew in the state of Arkansas, there's no excuse to not be a really good basketball program. And honestly, I was even one of those guys in the moment I was in college. I was kind of bummed when they fired Mike Anderson. I was like, damn, like really? We're really doing him like that? In hindsight, I look back and I'm like, that's when Arkansas as a program elevated. That's when they really started taking themselves seriously. And, you know, I look back on it and I'm like, man, that was a blessing. Huge.
Yeah. And I know, like, to the point real quick of like, it's not the no all end all be all because we always talk about attendance and everything, but that was something I always brought up with Arkansas too, because I remember how pissed I would get even in the Pelfrey days during like midweek games. I'd see 5,000 people in the stands and I'd be like, this is crap. Like, shows how bad we are and everything. I'm like, you know how many, like a lot of college basketball programs would kill to have 5,000 people at a game. And yeah, in Arkansas, it's like, this is the worst crowd I've ever seen. I'm like, that's another reason of why you have it that way. And again, I know now it's different because of crowds and reseating and all that, but there was a time where even for like average teams or above average teams, those Mike Anderson teams that were borderline tournament games, we still had 18, 19,000 people showing up for playing freaking Texas A&M. I mean, it was a big deal back then.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I see Ben. He says the Tyson support of Cal is so much more than the Hunt support of Muss, though. The cost of doing business is so much more now than it was then. Come on now.
I know.
What are we doing here?
We're just describing basic. Like, that's what's been happening in college sports. In football, like this year's Arkansas football roster, it's going to cost way more than whatever Arkansas paid in 2021 when they had a tremendous recruiting class, because the cost of doing business is way up. Like, that is just Arkansas as a program and as a state leveling up with the rest of the world in college basketball, which is what you losers always complain about. Why can't we level up? Why can't we spend more money? They're actually doing it in basketball, and y'all are bitching about it.
Yeah. I do want to continue on with this because I think it's really fascinating to dive into. I want to remind everybody that BetSaracen is the #1 sports betting app here in the state of Arkansas, and it's not even close. I mean, they're the best in the business. That no matter what specials that you're able to find, you can't find any better specials or the promo page that they have. And don't forget that every time the Razorbacks are playing, you get double R prop plays. You get all the good specials and parlays and everything, especially with the big game coming up this weekend. And the best thing about it is we have an exclusive deal just for you. For all of you listeners and people that hang out with us here at Inside Arkansas, if you click the link below in our description, or if you scan that QR code on your screen, it'll take you to download the app. And when you download the app, be sure to use promo code INSIDEAR250. That's INSIDEAR250, because when you use that promo code, you can bet $25, get $250. It's that simple. Bet $25, get $250 for free whenever you use Inside AR250. So download the BetSaracen app today by scanning that QR code on your screen or clicking the link below with BetSaracen. And you were talking about, I think it was you, Andrew, was talking about the elevation of like, okay, well, if it wasn't for what Mike Anderson did, then maybe Muss wouldn't be as interested. If one from what Muss did, then Cal wouldn't be interested. It's kind of felt like the same way in football, which I know it's revisionist history and everything. But if it wasn't for what Houston Nutt did, then Bobby Petrino may have not been as interested in the job. If it wasn't for what Bobby Petrino did, you would have never gotten a guy like Brett Bielema, which I know, looking back on, but at the time, it was a rock star hire. But then towards the end, when, Bielema didn't do so hot, didn't do so well, had a losing season, it's like, well, the shine's worn off a little bit. So you end up with Chad Morris. And then after Chad Morris, good grief, man. There was no shine. In fact, you were just a mud pie. And you're like, who? Does anyone want this job? And it's like, well, Bima's like, oh, I'll take it. It's like, all right, well, then you come in. And then, again, we'll see with Silverfield, but it's so much in that moment to where we talk about the history and tradition, but it's also about what have you done for me lately? Because there's a lot of coaches, they'll see a program, be like, I don't know if I want to do that, because if that coach who I know, who's a good coach and a good guy, if he couldn't get it done there, I can't get it done there. But then the opposite effects, like with the Cal situation and everything, well, geez, if Eric Musselman had those great years there, I know I can do it there. There's a way you got to look at it to where that's why it's so important to ascend, so important to get a better coach than what you fired or what you got rid of, and keep moving forward, because you want that shine to always remain on your program.
Well, and I know it sounds like we're picking on Ben here, but he's kind of lobbing us up for this. This is why you have the wrong side of the chicken or egg thing, because it's not like John Calipari got hired at Arkansas and then John Tyson was like, oh, hey, let me get my hat in the ring and let's get us some money. John Tyson decided to commit a lot of money to Arkansas basketball, which is why they got John Calipari. And why did they get John Calipari? Because Muss got the Hunts to invest, and because they won a lot of games, which prompted another rich guy in the state to say, hey, I want to get in on this thing, and I have a guy in mind of how I want it to happen. So they go out and get John Calipari. It's not like John Calipari just showed up in Fayetteville, walked in the door, and was like, hey, can someone give me money? This was already worked out, and that's what we're talking about. Like, the context matters. You kind of have to elevate it. Just like, hey, if Arkansas hires a dud after John Calipari, well, then the context is going to be different then. They'll have to adjust for that. They'll have to have different people step up. This isn't just like this isn't a rocket science concept here. You have a good coach that has success. It levels you up as a program, and Arkansas in basketball has done a great job at that.
Also, too, I wanted to bring this up to your point about the Cal situation and everything. Oh, speak of I'm not going to say nothing. I don't want to make Wesley cry this time around. I'm not going to say nothing, but it's good to see Wesley and Michelle here at Blue Ember Smokehouse in Rogers. But, to the point of like him, the chicken or the egg or the support or anything, I'll make this statement, and we'll never know, but I'll make the statement. John Calipari does not go – he could have the same exact amount of money or support or funding at any other SEC school. He would have not left Kentucky if it wasn't for Arkansas. Like, he could have Mississippi State. There could have been Ole Miss, could have been – I mean, again, maybe a Tennessee, maybe a Florida, maybe. But I'm saying – he was not sitting there being like, as long as I get the support, I'll go to Starkville. I'll go to Ole Miss. Like, that's another thing too, to where it was a perfectly timed, perfectly done thing. And, I think if John Tyson, if he didn't, he obviously has a personal relationship with Cal and all that, but if he would have committed the same amount in support and Cal he was retired or whatever, Arkansas still could have gotten an absolutely banger of a coach. I'm not saying they would have gotten Hurley, but they may have, if he was like, I'm going to support this amount to you, so that's the deal that you got to look at it too. He's like, yeah, the personal relationship is what made it all come together. But if you had the same support, you could have gotten still an incredible coach. But if Cal would have been given the same amount of support at other schools, he probably wouldn't have taken it. I think that's a big thing there.
Yeah, for sure. It's funny that you brought up Mississippi State. Who was last on these rankings? Was it them or was it South Carolina?
That's a good point. I might bring back up the graph. I think it's South Carolina.
You mean the Final Four participants, South Carolina?
It is indeed South Carolina.
Okay.
Then Mississippi State, then Oklahoma, and Ole Miss. Those are the bottom four for you there.
LSU's like kind of high on this list.
But then we've talked about how they should be better in basketball than what they are.
But at some point, I feel like you just got to look at the results of what they've been doing.
I would have, and I know we're not doing programs, we're doing jobs, but I would have Vanderbilt over Georgia and LSU.
Yeah.
I would agree.
I would probably have Auburn over Alabama.
Missouri needs to go down on this list. This is garbage. Like Missouri, I'm sorry, man. Like, like Mike Anderson was your last coach of relevance. Like,
who was the other Anderson?
Kim Anderson.
Yeah.
The guy was a joker.
The D3 guy?
Yeah, the D3 guy that
Quanzo.
Quanzo Martin. Yeah. Then Dennis Gates, I have nothing against him, but my man went 0-18.
You
can't be a good coach and go 0-18.
You have to have one successful tenure in the last 20 years for me to consider you a good job. And I think we're really getting close to that because Mike Anderson was the last successful tenure at Missouri.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
And that was close to 20 years ago at this point. So it's like, I think we're You got to crank out one solid tenure if you're Missouri.
Yeah.
Well, and somebody mentioned like, or maybe it's me like, well, South Carolina made a Final Four. I was like, okay, but we all knew what that was.
Sure.
Because they didn't make a single postseason under
Sure.
Frank Martin except for that one.
Hey, I was
Sometimes
saying, Frank Martin
clock's right twice a day.
Frank Martin, I wouldn't even say that was a super successful tenure. I would also, because LSU's kind of high on this list. Will Wade, where would you rank Will Wade in the coaches of college basketball right now? Is he top 15, top 20?
I'd say 20 for sure.
Yeah, 20.
And what did he do at LSU? He had 1 year where they made a
Nothing
real
really.
run. They had one run, and then they made the tournament a couple times. So I feel like that's kind of like, you could say that it's like a good thing for LSU. I think that's actually a knock on them, where it's like, we have a guy that we all unanimously agree is a good coach. He's about to have NC State rolling, by the way. They had a good win last night. They're going to probably make a run here in the next couple of years. And I think we're going to look back and be like, damn, LSU not only is stupid for firing this guy, but also like you kind of wasted one of the best coaches in college basketball when you had him in his prime.
Yeah. In fact, I was thinking
And they had good teams there too.
Well, yeah, that's what I was
Good
thinking. Is
talent, I should say.
like, because what was it? John Brady was there for a long time. He went to a Final Four with Big Baby Davis, and we talked about how much talent that they had. But then it's like they kind of go up and down, up and down. Was it Johnny Jones? Was he after John Brady?
Yes,
I think
he was.
Yeah.
And he had
And
Muss on his staff.
He had Muss on his staff and had Ben Simmons there for a quick second. We all know how that went. But then they kind of went back with it with Will Wade, then they went back down. So maybe they're up and down. Maybe the person after McMahon will be able to ascend them back into it. But yeah, I just, again, the list, SEC basketball is so fascinating because it got so good so quick that it's hard for me to like really comprehend and keep up with. When I remember the days of like Rick Ray at Mississippi State and Donnie Tyndall at Tennessee, and like what was the guy's name at Anthony Grant at Alabama, Tony Barbie at, like, I don't know what he's doing these days, but it's like, it's just amazing how, hey, if you invest and flip it and get good coaches, your programs get elevated to where just, talking about 10 years ago, Auburn and Alabama were the biggest jokes of college basketball. And now you're sitting here being like, man, they've gone a few Final Fours and everything's going on. So it's hard for me to kind of keep up with it. Didn't ascend quietly. It went from 0 to 100 in the SEC in basketball.
You can lead a horse to water. You can't get that horse to drink. I see our guy Pooh Bear in here talking about Brian Kelly's buyout and Lane Kiffin. What does that have to do with LSU basketball? Because I don't think that's an argument in favor of LSU, right? Like that their football program is spending a lot of money. I think that's actually harmful to their basketball program because it's like, they're not getting a piece of that coin. I think about some of those coaches you just rattled off there, John. Some of these coaches in the SEC in the mid-2000s, like, could not even get an assistant coach job in the SEC right now. Like, you have to be a damn good coach to get an SEC job, and that honestly wasn't the case 20 years ago.
Okay, so I'm going to play this fun game. I know we'll have some other things to talk about. We know, we all agree, everyone knows. Chad Morris was the worst SEC coaching hire in football this millennium. Not even close.
Yeah, man.
Like, we all know that. Who has been the worst SEC basketball coaching hire this millennium? And we'll take into consideration, of course, the team like Missouri and Texas A&M, not before in the Big 12, but like who just, if there's one, is there one that comes to mind? Who's the, quote, Chad Morris coaching hire of the SEC this millennium?
Stackhouse.
Was he that bad, though?
I don't know. He might have had a year or two where he was competent.
Who was there before him? Bryce Drew?
See, but Bryce Drew had some good teams, right? Or maybe it was all Stallings.
Didn't they go over?
Maybe it was
went over
Stallings that
twice.
had. So, yeah, it might be Bryce Drew, low-key.
Hey, Angel said John Belfry.
John Belfry's not that far
He
off.
won a
He's not the
tournament
worst. He's not the worst because he did have one decent team.
Yeah. Like, because
Avery
Anderson
Johnson
might
at
be up
Alabama, I'm sure he had some success, but I feel like Bama has really leveled up since he left.
Yeah, I mean, most places
Kim Anderson would be the answer.
That's what I was going to
Kim
say.
Anderson for sure.
Because I was looking up, because I remember when he got hired, everyone was kind of like, what?
There is no equal to Chad Morris
tough
because
on him.
everybody that you want to make the argument for has at least had 1 year. Like Lamont Paris had 1 year where South Carolina was good.
It's 1,000% Kim Anderson. You want to know what his SEC record was in his 3 years?
Not
Missouri?
good.
3-15, 3-15, 2-16.
Yeah,
Ooh,
man.
that's
He's the guy.
Chad Morris.
We found him.
Chad Morris.
We found him. Yeah. 9-23, 10-21, 8-24 overall records. So,
sheesh.
Hey, a shout out to him, though. He went back to Pittsburgh State, and now I think he just retired. But, yeah. Sometimes, those coaches that went at a high level at D3 schools doesn't always translate to high-level college basketball,
Turns out beating
interesting.
5'10" white guys doesn't prepare you for life in the SEC.
Like, and I mean this with love, Curtis. Imagine if Curtis just, like, went from Lindenwood, right, hey, we're going to give you the Missouri job. Probably be a pretty big jump for you, I'd assume, right? Like, it'd be a lot to handle.
I wouldn't want that.
Did
get a Missouri transfer once.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Who did he play for? Was it a Kim Anderson kid?
Maybe Kwanzaa. I don't know.
Okay.
Actually, that's a good question.
Yeah, because the only one I remember from Kwanzaa was it Porter. Was he the one, the big player? I mean, I know he didn't transfer to Lindenwood, but like,
Well, you know.
yeah. But wasn't he like the one that was going to be like the game changer for Missouri? But then he got hurt and something like that. I think. So
Yeah. His brother was good, and then now he's in jail. Is he in jail?
Who's in jail?
Porter's
The other
brother.
Jonte,
Oh, is he in jail?
or he's in trouble at
Yeah,
least.
but he's
the
definitely
betting
being
stuff.
he's definitely being interrogated by the FBI and stuff like that. Hey, that boy Wesley got a big old head, don't he?
He does have a dome on him, man. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy.
Can you palm it? Is it getting that? Is it? Can you do it? Like,
It's yeah.
man, tough scenes.
It's growing.
See, listen, like, yeah, you guys like talk crap about him. He's fine, but I just say something about him, he cries.
Yeah,
So,
look
yeah,
at that
there he
thing, man.
is.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a melon.
Yeah, don't worry. We're not talking about you, Michelle. I promise. But no, it's good to see Wes. Good to have everybody here. I mean, it's packed out, man. It's good to get crowded for
It
the
was
lunch
packed.
crowd.
All right, so they open at 11. Me and Curtis rolled up at
10:45.
Oh, okay, 10:45. Me and Curtis rolled up here at 11:15, and there was only one parking spot left.
Dude, they've been killing it here, man. It's an awesome spot. If that doesn't tell you how great this place is, then you need to come check it out for yourself. So, but it's always great to be here at Blue Ember Smokehouse. First Wednesday of every month. We're right here at this location. So appreciate each and every one of you coming out and hanging out with us.
That's
and
funny.
jumping into the chats too. But yeah, let's go ahead and get to your chats, folks, because I'm sure you all have been very nice in there. I haven't been paying attention because I usually don't pay attention to any of you, but I still love you
We
nonetheless.
might have to settle a Big Z debate at some point.
See, this is why I don't like to get into the chat.
Yeah,
It's
it
'cause
got
I'm-
deep in the Illinois Big Z
This has
conversation.
been going on for a long time. It's not that complicated.
I mean, listen, there's always two shows that happen on our live stream: our show and then the chat
Yeah.
show. Like, there's always different content to be talked about. But we'll get into that here in just a second. I want to remind everybody that Hickey Hull Law is the official law firm of us here at Inside Arkansas. If you ever need any of these help when it comes to these legal cases, legal advice, no matter what it is, they can help you out. And luckily for you, they're local, so they are big on the communication. Now they're just through email, through text messages, phone calls, whatever it is, they are constantly going to be in communication with you to make sure you have that representation that you need, no matter what it is, especially when it comes to those divorce and custody cases, because they are far too important to try and face alone. And Hickey and Hull Law is going to provide you with that persistent and diligent representation, help guide you through the entire process, because they've handled thousands of family law cases and have experienced nearly every scenario that comes up. So be sure to give them a call today and let them know about it, because they have offices across the state of Arkansas: Fayetteville, Fort Smith, Little Rock, and Mena. And you can call them today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. Scan that QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. All right, so let's go ahead and get into your chats, folks, as we are live from Blue Ember Smokehouse here in Rogers. Super chats get read first, as we all know that's the rule. Shout out to Michael Nemesi. Says, hey, guys, I got a bold prediction for Saturday. It doesn't involve us, but I think Tennessee beats Kentucky in Rupp. So impressed with how Amens is playing right now.
It's not that bold of a prediction.
I mean, I think they get their get back. They're pissed from blowing that lead, so I think that happens. I hope it does.
And I will give credit where it's due. Nate Amend has looked a lot better. He's been for like 5 or 6 games now. He's been really good.
What, he had 28 last night? He had 28 on somebody else not too long ago. Like,
Yeah, he had a big game when they went and won at Bama too.
Yeah.
He's been
But-
good,
but
man.
Did he have all them free throws? But did he have all them free throws, man? He had all those free throws, man.
Yeah,
Imagine-
I can't say too much about free throws right now, but you know.
I know.
Imagine
I wanted
how
to play the
good-
clip of Brazil and A-Cup saying that stuff,
Yeah,
because that's what I
exactly.
always think of. But yeah,
See, but imagine how good Nate Amend would be if he had spent 3 years playing for the Motor City Rapids or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
City
the Flint
Rapids.
Tropics.
Can't trust him in the tournament.
no. Shout out to Addison, super chat, who's over here at Blue Ember Smokehouse. Says, shout out to our guy Addison for eating barbecue and making occasional eye contact.
I like it.
Hey,
I
it's
like
better
it a
than
lot.
normal stuff that we get, my man. So we appreciate just the subtle eye contact. But
That was
thank you. Appreciate you, man. Thanks
That
for
was a
showing
good
up.
guess at exactly what I would have said if I were reading a super chat from Addison.
Shout out
That's
to our
like
guy
exactly
Addison
what
for
I
eating
would have
barbecue.
said.
Shout out to him for eating barbecue and making the occasional eye contact and not making it weird for us. But no, we appreciate you, Addison. Appreciate the super chat, my man. Let's see. In fact, our guy Ryan says, Blue Ember Day. Wish I had Blue Ember for lunch. Well, doesn't everybody? But luckily, we're the lucky ones here in Inside Arkansas Live. So yeah, we appreciate it though. And our Broken Hog, speaking of Blue Ember, says anything less than a full pound is obviously just a snack.
Yeah.
Do you agree with this?
No, I don't, because that half pound has filled me up pretty good. I'm gonna eventually end up getting something else. I might get a few sides or whatever, but half pound of burnt ends is a lot.
It's a good amount. Well, speaking of, our guy Peyton from Blue Ember, appreciate it. He goes, the Glizzy Cone will make an appearance on stream eventually. I still have full hope for it.
Yeah, unfortunately for folks who want to see that, the Razorbacks have been too inconsistent to hold up their end of the bargain.
Let's go with let's set some terms right quick.
Okay.
So how many home games does Arkansas play? They'll play Auburn obviously on Valentine's Day, and then they play. Would it be A&M at home before we were back here?
Yeah, Missouri too, probably.
Yeah.
Let's go with those Auburn and A&M games.
So we're just going home games.
Let's try and make a bet centered around the Auburn and A&M games. Except the A&M game's later, isn't it?
Oh
no, we're good.
No,
okay.
It works.
If Arkansas beats both Auburn and A&M, they have to beat them both, and they have to do both by double digits. If they do both of those things, do you agree to eat the cone? Double digits, Curtis. And actually, I'll even give you the cop-out of if they suck in all the other games and we come back here on March whatever and we're like not thrilled about Arkansas basketball, I'll give you an out. Because I thought about that. Because we did some type of thing of like 2 road games or whatever that they did win. But it's like, imagine like getting that and then still having to do it even though we kind of aren't happy about Arkansas basketball. Like, you want to be doing it in a celebratory fashion.
Yeah, no, I'm down for that. We will. The next time we're here, we'll be coming off of the trip to Florida, and it will be the day of the Texas home game.
I was going to raise stakes and say, because there's 3 home games, I say if they go undefeated in those 3, then it's got to happen.
See, but dude, that's a little too easy.
They're supposed,
they'll probably be favored.
Hey, a lot of stuff is supposed to be easy for this team, but it's not.
Listen, I always make fun
easy?
when people try and get me to cut my hair if Arkansas goes 1 for 2 at the free throw line or whatever. I don't want to lob Curtis up for having to eat a cone for something that was supposed to happen.
How about if they because they play Alabama before that, right?
And Florida
before that.
Let's just do that.
Yeah, if they win one of those. One of those games.
How about that? Undefeated at home, you split the roads between Florida and Bama.
Are you talking about both of those? That's high stakes for just an ice cream cone. That's like, come on now.
I mean, but he's got to deep throat it.
What do you mean?
It's
not part of the deal.
Yeah, show us what you mean by this.
I mean, it's going to be sitting right here. His mouth is going to come from right here, and it's going to,
Okay, you don't get to dictate the terms of how I eat
what
it.
Is it?
Well, that's what I had in mind. That's why I was trying to help you out and be like, hey, it should be more than just winning home games they're supposed to win.
We'll figure it out.
We'll
figure it out for you, Peyton. We obviously got to have a company meeting about the important stuff, about what it's going to take to get Curtis to house an ice cream cone here from Blue Ember Smokehouse. So
the look on John's face when I use the term deep throat is tremendous.
It's just because it's not that; it's what could come afterwards. Pause.
Not that. I'm
let's see.
on my best behavior.
Mike says, I totally forgot the Pro Bowl was on yesterday. It says a lot about what it is now.
Worst pro sports
I didn't realize that was on.
of all time because they don't even play a football game anymore. It's like tag team. It's like tag dodgeball.
I honestly am truly asking this. This really happened yesterday.
So I can't keep up because they do like a bunch of different activities. Like they literally play dodgeball one day. They do like the skills challenge, which actually isn't that bad. I used to like that. But then they eventually play like tag or two-hand touch football, and I think that might be the new Pro Bowl. Like I don't think they actually – I could be wrong on this. I think maybe this weekend is like the actual Pro Bowl game, but regardless, it's the worst by far. Like the NBA All-Star, we kind of agree they scale it back, but like the dunk contest is cool, three-point contest, and then, you at least have star players there. But like Shedeur Sanders and Joe Flacco are 2 of the 3 AFC quarterbacks, the other of which being Joe Burrow, who missed half the season.
See, I need to go
That's
back.
Wild.
I need to go back to like just again. I know they kind of do this a little bit, but man, just do like who could throw the furthest. Do something
stuff
like that.
Yeah.
Simple stuff. Who can throw the furthest? Who can kick the longest field goal? Just be basic about this stuff. Don't be like, hey, we're gonna, have this like. I know I hated this movie, but like Happy Gilmore 2 when they had like the new era of golfing, and it's just like, hey, we're gonna do these Fortnite dances and stuff. It's like, no, just do some fun stuff because I think you guys probably seen the old clip of like Peyton Manning and Brett Favre and like even Jim Harbaugh like doing as far they could throw in Hawaii, and then like they had like hot chicks around. They're like, hey, what are you doing after here? It's like,
I don't really want to spend too much time talking about the Pro Bowl, but has anyone ever understood why they do it the week before the Super Bowl, like the week between conference title and Super Bowl? I guess you don't want to do it after the season, but like make it a full off-season thing. Because most of the reason why people don't go is because they're like, hey, I just got eliminated from the freaking NFC title game. I'd like to go on vacation with my family and not go to the freaking Pro Bowl in Cleveland or whatever.
Well, I think this is my theory, because it was always the week before the Super Bowl in between. And it was because, like they always make the joke on Inside the NBA is like, you're going to go to Cancun. Like they're thinking they're going to Hawaii because it was always in Hawaii.
But it's like you automatically eliminate everyone in the Super Bowl can't participate. And really the people that play in the conference title, they're probably not participating.
But they used to, though. Is that what I'm saying?
See, but people like Aaron Rodgers have never done it. Like there's some guys who genuinely never go. And the Super Bowl people have never gone regardless. You know what I mean? So it's like you're right off the bat just like eliminating a bunch of the best players in the league. I just think the Pro Bowl is the worst of the pro sports of their all-star version. It's by far the worst.
Yeah, it does suck.
MLB's the best, right? We agree?
Yeah.
NHL is pretty good, even though I don't watch NHL. Their all-star does seem to be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Fun little trivia question for you. Can you guys, they used to do college versions of basketball. Can you name the 3 Razorbacks that have won either the dunk contest or the three-point competition for the college three-point competition in basketball?
So someone did it not too long ago, right? I know Sonny Weems did it in 2008 or whatever it was.
That's one.
Yeah. Who won the three-point contest? Was it
Brandon Dean?
So Brandon Dean was the other dunk contest.
He won the dunk contest. Now someone won the 3, but who the hell was it? Was it Clark? Rodney Clark?
Nope. I'm going to give you a hint. He played in the NBA for a lot of different teams, and he was an NBA player. Nolan Richardson player.
Joe Johnson?
No. So I'm pretty sure I'm right on this. So if I'm wrong, just don't hold it against me. But I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he won. But yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, Gennaro Pargo.
Okay, that was I almost said his name, but I was like, no, it couldn't have been Gennaro Pargo.
One of the most because he was a JUCO player, I believe. He only played 2 years at Arkansas, but he played in the NBA for a long time.
He did. Yeah. He was a Hornet.
I liked Pargo.
Yeah. He was a Chicago Bull, and dude was a 3-point assassin. Hit the game-winning shot to beat Florida in 2001, I believe. When they were number 5, and that was a team that I think lost to the Florida team that lost to Gonzaga in the first round, if I'm not mistaken. So
former Sports Illustrated cover athlete Gennaro Pargo.
He was on the cover.
Maybe not Sports Illustrated, but he was on the cover of some magazine when he was 17, and it was like next big thing or some crap like that. But I remember staying up late to watch that Sonny Weems dunk contest. It happened at like 10:30, and I had school the next day. But I was like, I gotta watch this.
And again, I know we're spending too much time on this, but the reason I brought it up is because I also saw the highlight of Brandon Dean, who won it. He had the funniest thing. He took off his shirt. He wore a Superman shirt. He was only 6'1", insane athlete. Do you want to know who the main judge was for the dunk contest in 2001? Michael Vick.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Michael Vick. Do you want to know who the main judge was for when Sonny Weems won it? Emmett Smith.
Okay.
So, there's your little trivia for something that probably nobody cares about or nobody
Interesting.
remembers. Yeah. Going back in time. It's fine. We're having fun at Blue Ember. Leave us alone, folks. We're just having a good time over here. So a few other chats here, too. This comes from Supercar. I'm going to call you that. I asked you guys yesterday, did you notice Malik Thomas had his hand taped up? Is that normal?
This person has said that about at least a half dozen times in this chat today about how he keeps asking and nobody's saying anything about it. What's going on? We've talked about this a lot.
It's been there for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, it has. It's been over 2 weeks that he's had his hand wrapped. Cal has talked about it. Malik Thomas himself has talked about it. We have talked about it on a daily basis. So, his hand's banged up. Cal called it a bruise, whatever. But yeah, that's not new news, and it's not something that's been ignored. And yeah, he had a boot on precautionary before the Kentucky game, and he was asked about that too. And he's fine. But I've seen some people that are like, if he's too hurt to help, you got to set him out. Don't play him. But he's been busting everybody's rear end. Yeah. He's been playing great. The only reason his numbers weren't where they typically are against Kentucky is because he had 2 fouls in the first 7 minutes. And he set out 13 minutes of the first half.
Yeah, they don't beat Oklahoma without Malik Thomas.
Yeah, Malik Thomas was awesome in that game. Listen, so he's good. No, he's all right.
I do think it's definitely like affected things a little bit, especially his 3-point shooting rate. Like he only took, I don't even think if he took one, it was one against Kentucky, and he was 0 for 4 against Oklahoma, and then didn't take any in the second half. And so you can, kind of look at that and be like, hey, is that maybe a factor? That's why I think this week is such a big week, where it's like all these bumps and bruises, him, Nick Pringle, whoever. Yeah. They're not just going to go away completely, but I think this will definitely help. I don't want to see that wrap on Saturday, if I'm being honest.
No, I don't either.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not like a thing we haven't been talking about.
I feel like every game day when we're talking about it on here, I'm like, I really hope he doesn't have his hand wrapped. Yeah. I hope they get that off of him.
Well, what's funny is the Vanderbilt game threw us off the scent. because that was the first game he wore it, if I remember correctly. And it was the best game he played in SEC play at that point in time. Or like he was coming off a big game and like played well against Vanderbilt. He was handling the ball well, hit a couple threes. Like I think he had like 5 or 6 assists. And so we were like, right away, we were like, oh, this hand wrap just isn't that big of a deal. He's fine. And then it was after that when he started kind of struggling from, shooting a little bit.
Well, and also too, like that's my favorite thing, I think, is like if anybody, like a kid on campus or something, sees a player in a boot or a glove or something, it's like he needs surgery and he's going to be out for the year.
Right.
Like it's immediately like that. Because Anthony Black wore a boot or whatever, I think every day of his life when he wasn't actually on the basketball court at Arkansas. And it was still like, he's still going out there and averaging, 11 and 8 and 5, and he's doing just fine. But I get it because you're concerned about the injury, but at the same time, hey, if the guy's injured and he can't play or whatever, guess what you're probably going to hear about pretty quickly? Him not being able to play because he's injured, and there's going to be some status on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
These are big boys. They can handle it.
Yeah.
Few little bumps here and there. They'll be all right.
yeah, just get our guy Townsend to just wrap it up and
Exactly.
make it happen. So let's see. Some other super chats or some chats. No more super chats. Pores. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Anyways, let's see. Sharkansas. Our guy Sharkansas, though, says, I can confirm nobody in Austin cares about basketball. They have Houston or Dallas if they want to watch basketball.
So this reminds me a little bit of USC football, where obviously if you were doing like 2003, you would say, hey, USC's like great football job. I'm not convinced it is anymore. And I think Lincoln Riley's tenure is kind of proof that it's not that simple. Nobody in LA cares about college sports. Nobody in Austin cares about anything other than Texas football or just, other things. Because there's a lot of people in Austin that, don't live in, aren't from Austin. But yeah, I don't think Texas basketball is like a cool thing to do in the city.
They have this, they have like a custom curtain that they pull down to cover their upper deck so you can't see that nobody's up there.
Yeah, I think I remember you guys talking about that when you guys went down for it.
Really strange deal. Yeah. And I guess what were they telling us, that they can almost double the capacity in there somehow for concerts and everything. So they already dumb it down for the basketball games, and then they block off the upper deck because nobody's there. So
it kind of reminds me of what was it? I think they did it at Lucas Oil when we were there for the Elite Eight and stuff. They just cut the thing
dropped the AAU curtain down.
Yeah, and then it was just dropped in half, and suddenly you're getting ready for the Arkansas Baylor game, and on the other side, you can't see what's going on, but it's Oregon State and Houston.
Yeah,
I think, and you're just and you hear cheers, I wonder what's going on over
there. And
there.
because of the TV stuff, they couldn't start the Arkansas game until that one was over. So the dudes were just chilling on the floor, talking Arkansas and Baylor players talking to each other. They had already warmed up, and they're just hanging out. And right next door, you've got this Elite Eight game. It was really strange, really, really strange.
It definitely was. A few other chats here too, folks, because also what we'll have, it's been a while since we had this, but did you guys know today's signing day for football? Nobody knows it or cares.
It is.
Yeah, exactly. It's I don't know who cares less about the Pro Bowl or signing day, but Dudley Dawson has a little update we'll play to give everybody an update on the Razorbacks and what they've been doing on signing day. But a few more chats here too, live from Blue Ember Smokehouse. In fact, our guy Josh says, hey guys, hope all is well today. Send some barbecue up this way to Indiana for me. Cats needs a big follow-up dub tonight against the Sooners.
Nah,
we're fine with that. Please lose to Porter Mosier. That'd be funny. And also, I don't know. We can talk to our guy Peyton and see if they can just FedEx you some barbecue. Maybe they can make that happen.
What's that? There's a website where all the known restaurants, you can get a deep dish pizza from Chicago, or you can get the famous wings from Buffalo.
Yeah.
I think it's called Gold Belly.
And they just send you the food?
Yeah, and they'll ship it to you.
I'd like to get, was it Bar Bill, the wing place?
Bar
yeah,
Bill,
sorry,
yeah.
Andrew. When we were in Buffalo, do you remember that?
I know
Chris?
you
How
love
much
this.
fun that was?
Yeah.
No, we'd have to have that. But you know what, Andrew? Maybe we can go back to Buffalo this year for the tournament. You can have
if
your
there's
own.
a God, yeah.
Just, please do not do Anchor Bar.
Curtis is going to wear a bulletproof vest, man.
It's crazy, dude.
Yeah. Don't go to Anchor Bar, because that was a place I think was where they said wings were invented.
Would we?
went there,
it was chain touristy over there.
Would y'all go? Would y'all be willing to go back to Niagara Falls for me or not?
100%.
No,
I go.
We'll Uber out there. We'll Uber out there. Screw it.
That's yeah. We won't have the Buzzmobile
I just want to go
out there.
see the water. I just
drive
want to
it.
make sure it's there.
Can we agree on this? John Calipari ain't taking the Razorbacks to Niagara Falls
Heck no.
tournament.
And if he is, I can tell you, he would probably have the same reaction that Muss had to us when we saw him at Niagara Falls. No, Cal's probably be like, if I'm going to go to Niagara Falls, it's going to be because I have to get a 5-star McDonald's All-American to meet him over there at the Canadian border. Or something like
man.
That. Yeah, get like one of these guys over. That'd be the only way. In fact, I don't. Yeah, if they did send the team, it'd be like, would they send Kenny Payne? Would they be, hey, Kenny, go take the?
They would definitely be.
Yeah,
Kenny Payne
and
leading the charge.
And Kenny Payne would not let us interview a couple of the players, like, which, by the way, you remember the 3 players they gave us? The most.
It was Chris Likes.
That was the one that was the most random, but it was
Devo
and Jalen Williams.
Oh yeah, Jalen Williams.
Jalen Williams, Devo Davis, and then here's Chris Likes. It's like,
and you couldn't hear the interview because there's
water,
one of the wonders of the world behind you that was very loud. So.
I'm sorry, Andrew. We'll move on, Andrew.
No, I mean, listen, I've been ramping up. Like I had a few Star Wars moments on the show recently. I mean, I did the sun quote yesterday, so I feel like I was due.
Well,
for
we
one.
all have our things. Me and Curtis have our travel. You and Curtis have UFC and MMA.
That is true.
Me and Andrew have Star Wars, so it's like we all got our stuff.
Yeah,
you know. It's a good vicious cycle.
Listen, when I do a Roman Reigns segment on the show, I'm owed, like, y'all are allowed. That gives you the free to like talk about one of your trips. When I start talking about my things like that,
okay.
Yeah. Well, anytime that Andrew will usually say, John, have you heard of this particular person? 99% of it has to be something with MMA because I haven't, like, it's like it has to be somebody.
I do remember one time where I was asking you about someone that was not MMA, and you were like, "Was he a fighter?" I'm like, "No."
Yeah, it's just what I have to assume. Let's see. Also, a few more here. That shout out to Kingsley. He says hospital is packed. I thought the delay was going to let me watch the show, but they're letting me in or getting me in right now. Thanks in advance for another banger. I'll catch it after I get out. Well, good luck, Kingsley. Hopefully everything goes well.
Yeah, man.
I love how many people. I appreciate it and definitely really do love it. But how many people are in the hospital for various things that are like on the show, chatting and stuff. We do appreciate that a lot, but also like, do what y'all got to do. Like, we're not going to hold it against you, Kingsley. Mid operation that you're not tapping in.
Yeah, I'm just going to hit up Kingsley back, dude. What the crap? Like, what?
Yeah. Hey, Kingsley, couldn't help but notice you didn't show up today. Yeah. What's up?
Telling the Wi-Fi doesn't work in the operating room. Like, let's go. What gives, man? So no, but for real, Kingsley. Hopefully everything goes well, man, and hopefully end up doing all right.
It's been a long road, man.
I know, man. He's been battling it, so hopefully it all works out. Let's see. Also, I just want to address this real quick. As Ben says, John, I saw and replied to your tweet about the windshield. Don't use Safe Light. Haha. Yeah. So my windshield's just, I need a new one. And so.
Safe Light not good?
Well, I guess it's just about the cost. Because that's my thing is it's one of those deals to where, when you really realize the ways of the world, when you're like, a windshield, in theory, you wouldn't think would be, I mean, it's pricey, but it's like, it's just glass,
Yeah.
But then you see it and you're like, it's $1,000. I'm like, for glass?
If I'm going to pay $1,000, I don't want a little rock creating a whole rift in my windshield. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And then not only that, but it's like, last time I checked, windshields are important when driving.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I'm trying to
have.
Who fixed your window? After we got robbed in St. Louis. It wasn't Safe Light though, right?
They hit a lick on y'all, man.
Yeah, it was crazy, bro. Yeah. It was a local place.
Yeah. Well, let me know. So I can, yeah. Because I got the eyebrow tint on top of it, so I got to check it out. So, but anyways, not to completely derail the show, but that's something I appreciate it, Ben, and thank you for letting me know that. So, all right, we'll get to more of your chats, folks. Again, we're live at Blue Ember Smokehouse. But let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters here on the show, presented by HD Roofing Construction, because we know storms can hit, can really make a difference in everything. And so whenever you do that, be sure to come and hang out and make sure you have the people over at HD Roofing Construction take care of you, because if those storms hit unexpectedly, you're going to be in trouble. You're going to be in trouble if your roof starts leaking, starts having damage, and it's maybe too little too late, and then it's going to be it's going to be a problem. Don't worry about any of that anymore. Just have a free inspection. That's right, a free inspection from HD Roofing Construction. They'll come out and they'll take care of you and make sure that, hey, if you need a new roof, they got you covered. If you need repairs, they got you covered. If you don't need anything done at all, they still have you covered. So give them a call today at their Northwest Arkansas office at 479-957-1928. That's 479-957-1928. Or you can check out their Central Arkansas location by calling them at 501-428-0429. Also their website at hdarkansas.com. It's HD Roofing Construction, the official sponsor of our heavy hitters here at Inside Arkansas Live. So, okay, I'm going to once again ask Andrew, is your heavy hitter the obvious one? Or is it not?
My heavy hitter is not obvious.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up from mine. Actually, I'm not going to even play the whole video. I'll try to get the picture of it. Norm DeBryan.
Sure.
Razorback baseball. They got the throwback unis for him. Baseball, listen, we all love Razorback sports. We all have our criticism and stuff. I feel like baseball, when it comes to their efficiency of getting it right, when it comes to honors, when it comes to jerseys, when it comes to hats, when it comes to everything, they nail it 100% of the time, every time. And to see Norm DeBryan getting an official day, an official uniform, and I'll pull it up here in a second, it's just awesome because Norm's the man.
Yeah.
I mean, he established it, and seeing Dave and seeing the reaction, seeing all that. My heavy hitter is Norm DeBryan for still going strong. The guy, he could have just retired, but he's still involved with the foundation. He's still working out there. He's still doing his thing.
He's on the board at the Razorback. That was what was the biggest reveal of that thing, is like he was acting like he was going in for just like a regular old meeting, like, hey, our typical Monday meeting at the Razorback Foundation. I'm like, this dude is just active. And I know he goes by the baseball facility all the time, but yeah, he's a hog through and through. And that was a really cool moment that they bring out his family, bring out Dave, and he kind of realizes what's going on. I love stuff like that. And of course, congrats on being a Hall of Famer. I feel like it's long overdue. I don't know what took this long. Because Arkansas is one of the best programs in the country. He is the guy that we always kind of attribute to building it, to getting it, where Dave, of course, took it up a notch. But it's like he put Arkansas on the map. When he took over, Arkansas had a dirt field that had no bleachers, no nothing. And it's like, to see what it's come today, like that's,
look at that uniform.
Any way we can honor this guy, we got to do it. And I'm glad that he gets to enjoy some of this, because I always hate when, you wait until after to start really honoring someone's legacy and honoring what they've done. Mm-hmm. I love it. And that's a sharp uniform too, man.
Dude,
I want that hat for sure.
We got it. Like I immediately texted Jolie over at Alumni Hall, and I'm like, how do y'all get these?
Yeah.
Because the next time we're at Alumni Hall, which will be the Friday before the Missouri game, I believe February 19th, I'm like, if you guys have these in stock, all three of us are rocking them. And all three of us are taking them home, because that's how much I would love to have this uniform. The hat, and it's funny because, it's not to say that there's all this film on Razorback baseball back in the 70s, but the hat, I was interested because I've never seen that logo before. You always think about throwbacks, never seen it before, but the gold, the font, just perfection, absolute perfection for this.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
You know what is concerning me a little bit? If the Arkansas men's basketball team is to make it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament, we will be somewhere else the night of this little celebration.
What the heck?
Norm DeBryan night. They're playing Florida that night at Friday night. It's going to be electric. I hate to say it, but I hope we're in Houston, or I hope we're in DC, or we're somewhere,
Yeah, that is unfortunate, but maybe they should just try to move the game. Hey, U of A, just for our sake.
I was surprised it was a Friday night that early in the not that early in the season, but in SEC play, just because it is. It's always a possibility.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sure there's reasons why he got bark at the park or whatever on the other days. I don't know. But
they do a good job with the promotional schedule, I would say. There's most games, there's something. We're giving away a pin, or it's $2 hot dog night or whatever. I do appreciate that.
Yeah, I do too. But that's my heavy hitter for today.
I like it. I saw a couple of people mention Gilbert Arenas' kid, Elijah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And that's fair. I'm not going to double down on that because I named him my heavy hitter when he actually came back and started playing again. But he had a heck of a game. They beat Indiana. Shout out to Must, and he looked really good out there doing it. My heavy hitter, unironically, is Chris Beard.
Come on.
Not the first time.
Now. Wow.
Probably won't be the last. But he lost his mind at Tennessee last night. I don't know if everybody saw that ejection, but that was wild, man. He had enough. And I think he said after the game, at some point you got to take up for your players or whatever. But he went storming across the court and was screaming at the official. He punched his get back guy in the shoulder. It was like he hit him. He took a shot at him. He was so mad. And then he was at midcourt and he ran back over to his team in the huddle and he was screaming. He shoved a guy in the huddle. I think he was trying to rally his troops a little bit. Didn't work. They still got blown out. And then he beer belly and all just jogged off of the floor and out of there. But he completely lost his mind. It was a boring game. Tennessee got it under control. Ole Miss wasn't going to threaten him. And then all of a sudden he just went nuts. He was seeing red and he went crazy. I thought it was funny. And Chris Beard, shout out to you.
It's hard for him to really beat the it's hard for him to go against
the allegations. You can't say beat the allegations because there are literal allegations.
Yes, this. He's just, he's got a little bit of a violent streak to him. Let's just be honest about it. He's like, he was the type of kid that if someone took his toy, he probably hit the kid over the head with a dump truck.
Yeah.
Like, it was just like,
he was finding frogs in the backyard and like executing them.
Like
doing stuff
putting
like that.
firecrackers up the rear end and blowing them up and then
He
laughing
did the
hysterically.
magnifying glass trick on the
Oh
bunks.
yeah. He was basically Sid from Toy Story. Like, that's exactly the type of kid that he was. And
That was an epic
Hey,
crash
but listen,
out, man.
I want to offer Chris Beard a little way out of this situation. When Cal is done at Arkansas, we will get you on a team-friendly deal to be one of the top assistants for Brad Calipari afterwards. You can be the Kenny Payne of Brad Calipari's first staff at Arkansas. Is that fair?
It's fair.
Now that is a Hogs Plus follow that I would watch every day.
Yeah.
just to see that madness
Buzz
happen.
cut Brad bringing in Chris Beard for the meeting, and he's like, "Hey, make sure the guys are really intentional with the way they're boxing out today."
Is he living with some regret now about the decision that he could have made that he didn't make because he had a pretty good thing going there. They had their year last year. They made a Sweet 16, lost all of those players, and you can tell by their roster this year. When we talk about support and resources and a care about basketball, it ain't there in Oxford. Shocker. And now look at him. They're going to go 500. He's getting tossed from games. It's a little bit of a mess.
We all knew what was going to happen. And here's the thing is it's so funny because you see like Ole Miss football, you can kind of tell what actually happened. He's probably like, I'll start winning and then I'll get the support. And he starts winning. He's like, it's support. Yeah, we're trying to win in football, so you're not getting squat. And it's like, all right. So now you made your bet, so you got to let sleep in it.
Example 1 billion. You spend a ton of money in football, and everybody's like, "Hey, that's good for your basketball team, right?" No, it's not.
Nope.
It is actually the exact opposite of that.
I mean, there's probably some, but there's not many programs that go an inordinate amount of money in football that is also very highly successful at basketball.
It's just Silverfield and Cal that are the rich ones.
That's true.
It's just those two.
All the money that's in there. So, but all right, who's yours? Andrew?
My heavy hitter is honestly the NBA trade deadline.
Wow, yeah.
I love it, man. I always do. I remember when I was really a diehard NBA fan, I would like set my alarm for 11:59 the night before free agency because it was just you'd get those Woj tweets and you get all that just like flooding in. The trade deadline's been pretty chaotic, man. This is the second year in a row that we have been sitting here in the first week of February and we have been live for a show on location somewhere. And Anthony Davis has been traded mid-show. He got traded in the middle of today's show to the Washington Wizards.
Objectively hilarious.
Him and Trae Young. By the way, that's a really interesting like little duo there. I don't think either guy's healthy or probably ever going to be healthy, but that's interesting. But like the Wizards just going all in. They got Anthony Davis and Trae Young now. That's cool. His third team in 1 year. James Harden, my guy, former Rockets legend, he has been traded to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland, former Vandy Commodore. So that's a little bit of an interesting trade there. The one that really jumped out at me, I was going to do this no matter what, but then there's been more trades. Did y'all see the Memphis Grizzlies?
Yeah, wow.
Low-key fleeced the Jazz, if I'm being honest with you. Like, Jaren Jackson Jr. is a good player. It's like 4 players, one of which was Walter Clayton Jr., by the way, that the Jazz just threw in there. And I'm like, damn, man, I thought he was like one of your like young guys that you liked. A 15-35 team traded their next 3 first-round picks. And they have no path to not being bad in the next 3 years. Like they have a very young roster. Ace Bailey sucks. We all know that. They don't play winning basketball there, and they now no longer have first-round picks. We always joke in college football where we're like, oh, we should tank so we can get the number 1 recruit. Imagine if like Arkansas football was 2-10 and like you were like, okay, we're going to get a first-round pick at least, and they just traded their first-round pick for a guy that's like a decent defender.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, bro.
And what a choice by Memphis. Right?
Yeah.
Because I understand it, but a lot of people were thinking, well, they're going to get him out of there. No, we're going to commit to the guy that can't stop playing with guns. And I don't know. It's wild, man. But they're setting themselves up. Maybe they still get rid of him. When is the actual deadline?
It's like Tuesday or I guess today's Wednesday, so it must be Friday.
So, okay.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this.
It's Thursday at 3 Eastern, according to ESPN right now.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Yeah, we need Stephen A.
Yeah,
What does the
Giannis
Harden trade mean for Giannis?
Yeah, so the Giannis thing, I would love to see him go somewhere. I don't know where that's going to end up, but that'll be very interesting.
I'll tell you what, I think the Washington Wizards have replaced my new team of Sacramento Kings, where I was just like, most irrelevant. I'm like, Washington Wizards, it's like since Agent Zero, Gilbert Arenas has been out. What do they got? Like, they had Bradley Beal for a split second. Yeah. Gafford kind of messed around in over there. And
I remember wanting
Kyle
Anthony
Kuzma.
Black to go to the Wizards, and I like that. I'm kind of glad he didn't. Although now I'm really thinking about it, I low-key wouldn't hate seeing him over there on that. It's a weird – they're going to be bad, but, they're going to be fun, though.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what they call Paolo Banchero in Orlando? They call him PB No J.
Wow.
Because his shooting splits this year are really, really bad. That's my favorite NBA nickname.
That's pretty good.
Man, we've had some good ones between that one and the Jaden Maintenance one that still kills
Jaden
me.
Maintenance is good.
I don't know who did that. We need to pin that tweet.
I wish Jaden Maintenance had played Saturday, low key.
I do too. Yeah, it wouldn't have hurt Arkansas's chances. That
It would have helped.
Yeah, exactly.
Moreno was one of the biggest issues that Arkansas couldn't deal with.
Yeah, that's brutal, man. That's brutal. But we're live at Blue Ember Smokehouse here in Rogers, folks. Appreciate them. Appreciate everybody listening and tuning in and everything. We'll get to some final chats, but we said signing day is today. I can't even say it with a straight face. My God, it used to be a thing. But Dudley Dawson, of course, of Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast, gives a little update on what signing days looked like and what's going on with it. So without further ado, we'll get to this and get to your chats and keep it going here on Inside Arkansas Live.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into this Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast update presented by Goat Lab Brewery. It's National Signing Day, obviously. Arkansas has already received the letter of intent or financial agreement from Hank Hendricks, a Fayetteville quarterback who reclassified from 2027 to 2026. Now, this is a kid that has started for 3 years. So he had started 34 varsity games, threw for almost 10,000 yards. It's a big pickup for Arkansas. Maybe a year earlier than a lot of people thought, but he also had offers from Michigan, Michigan State, Missouri, Texas Tech, Baylor, Oklahoma State, and others. So big pickup for him. He came from Borden, Texas, where he played his first 2 years in the 9th and 10th grade, and it was a junior at Fayetteville High this year. His dad, Shay, was obviously a coach for Coach Pittman, and now is a coach for Coach Ryan Silverfield. Arkansas will also get the signing of Antonio Sandal Bascom, Fat Boy Woo, as he's called. He will sign at 5:30. Wanted to wait until his mom got off work and do it at that time. He will be at least their second signing. We'll see if there are any more. Obviously, Jalen Allen is still out there. He's the former North Little Rock standout, who has been at Hutchinson Community College in Kansas. And he apparently is down to Arkansas and West Virginia, but he's kind of gone radio silent. 10 sacks last year, 31 tackles. So he would be great to come off that edge, 6'7", 240 pounds. You also have a couple of other updates. Cortland Marsh is a preferred walk-on. He was at Memphis the past 2 years. Got to play 4 games in 2024. Was not able to play this year because he was hurt. But he's coming in and as a preferred walk-on, a 5'10", 188-pound cornerback who started 3 of the 4 games he was able to play for in 2024 and had 16 tackles and interception, 2 forced fumbles and 1 recovered fumble. So in the time he did get to play, he got out there and took care of business. He played at Samford from 2021 to 2023. Also, there is a couple of additions via the walk. As we mentioned, Cortland Marsh preferred walk-on. Also, Emmanuel Floor is a 6'4", 305-pound offensive lineman from Sacred Heart. He will be a preferred walk-on here as well this year. An offensive lineman, much like Lucas Presenti from Temple, who committed earlier a few days ago, that will come in here during the summer and give Arkansas some added offensive line depth. We'll be here all day trying to keep you up to date with all the comings, goings, and recruiting. Certainly a much less busy day than it has been back in previous years, but still a lot of excitement going on.
All right, so there you have it. There's the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Update with Dudley Dawson. Appreciate him. Appreciate signing day updates and everything too. And it's funny. I was thinking about this, guys. Signing day will always forever in my memory be about Dorial Green Beckham not going to Arkansas and going to that crappy school up north. And then also Alex Collins' mom rest in peace, stealing his papers on signing day. Arkansas having the 2 most Arkansas things happen with 5-star players seems to be pretty on brand. So, but I do miss signing day in the way of the absurdity of the hats and I got an alligator. I'm coming into Florida. Like I do miss that element, but yeah, it's just you talk about something that became so irrelevant so quickly. It was the February signing period. Like it just was gone.
Let's write a. I know we change the rules and the dates in the NCAA every single year. Let's just move it back. I understand you want to get these kids in for spring and all that. Yeah, they're never going to do it now. Like before I can even get the take out, but I'm just like, man, we all agree the December one sucks because it's like, coaches are fired, coaches are hired. You got the portal window coming up. Let's just do the portal window in January. February, we do the high school thing. Let's call it a day.
But then you can't have Hank Hendricks.
Or let's sign them let's do like they do in baseball and sign them the semester before. Let's just sign everybody. If you're a high school senior that's committed somewhere, sign in August if you want to enroll.
There are discussions about moving it and changing that for some of those reasons. And part of it too is just like with the social media age, there's such a starvation for you got to know something before it happens, like the crystal ball culture and everything like that, which is fine. Like it's a thing, and people pay to get that kind of information. But it does take away from the thrill of the chase and the end game. Where now, by the time somebody sits at a table and they've got their 4 hats, you already know.
Yeah,
it's already decided. It's already it just takes away from the moment or whatever. But I remember several times when I was a little bit younger, getting the nervous energy when I'm watching. I'm like, which hat is he grabbing on? Oh, he's putting on the Razorback hat. Oh no, he wiped his rear end with it and threw it in the trash. Okay,
he took off one shirt to reveal another shirt, and then he had another shirt.
Yeah, exactly.
I always love when the parent is sitting there, and then every now and then you get an example of the parent that's like, I don't agree with this decision.
Yeah. Well, what was it? The kid that went to was it Alabama instead of LSU or LSU instead of Alabama?
I think it was Landon Collins.
Yeah, and they were like, and everyone was cheering, and the mom's just sitting there pissed. And then they put a microphone. They're like, so what do you think of this decision? She's like, I think it's an awful decision. I don't agree with it. I wish you would have gone to Alabama. And I'm like, oh,
she backtracked.
This is tough sledding.
Like 7 years later, she was like, it worked out okay. Yeah. But I think he was a New Orleans kid that went to Bama.
Yeah,
and so she was not happy.
Yeah, and here's the thing: is like I'm not a parent. I'm like, man, that'd just be a really tough look for my parent. Like
you got to put on a brave face,
but at the same time, it's like I wouldn't go out and be like, I don't agree with my son. It's like it's your son, man. It's like it's their decision where they want to go.
Smile and nod and clap, and then afterwards you can be like, damn, that's
well. I'll tell you this right now: I will raise my child the right way to where the decision that he makes is going to be the right one. There's going to be there's no debate. All right. There's going to be no controversy. Mom's not going to be upset. He's going to get it right.
Yeah. She's going to be, Michelle's going to be crying on camera. She's going to be crying on that video.
She will.
My dream is that one day, I forced my son to go play at Arkansas, but that he's throwing 86 and he's the midweek starter and people are accusing, him of getting opportunities just because his dad is the podcast guy and all that. Like that's my dream. My kid have a 5.2 ERA as the midweek starter and people hate him and they're like, it's just bums only there.
And then it's going to be the thing that pisses us all off because every time we watch a Razorback game, it's going to be like, now here, I don't know if anybody knew this, but then Andrew Ellis, it's his son.
I'll be on the Bombastic podcast. I'm like strong 4 innings of work from Ellis Jr. Man, that was good stuff.
And then Andrew's just sitting there in the crowd like this. I don't agree with any of this. This umpire sucks. Like he's just screaming things.
Biggest Razorback baseball story since Robert Moore's dad.
Yeah, exactly.
See, this is like if I could script it, this is exactly how it would go.
Andrew wants to be hated because he's on TV so much because they keep talking about his son and him being the dad of it. Yeah, that would work out. A few more chats here. Camo Gang says the road trip itinerary elite.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Cal's very different from that standpoint. But if Musk could take them boys somewhere that they just did not care about, he was all over it. Because they even went to, remember they went and did the tour, like the special thing at the Giants ballpark.
Yeah.
After we went from Niagara Falls across the country.
So okay, sorry, we got our guy here. So you said hog trough fries. Hog trough fries.
Yes, sir.
Right there. Okay, so I tell you what, just gotta. I'm going to put you on the microphone over here. Come over on this side because I want you to explain this better because all I see is that this is just amazing. So, but yeah, just to kind of pop squat over here. So what is this you got?
It's called our hog trough fries. It's going to come out about a month or two. It's order and a half of our fries with our dry rub, with our queso that's made fresh every morning. And it's topped with you can get brisket, pork, chicken, whatever meat you'd like with shredded cheese, sour cream, and chives on top. And it pairs well with the kickin' apple barbecue sauce.
Oh my goodness, that
My
looks
goodness
incredible.
gracious, dude. Okay, I'm glad you brought this out at the end of the show because, like I said, it would be we'd have to break our rules of eating. But I appreciate it, man. That looks fantastic.
Unscheduled commercial break.
Yeah, that looks
is
fantastic.
Awesome,
I can't wait to dive into that
Gosh.
one. But yeah, I mean, that's just one of the many great items that they have here at Blue Ember. So again, we love doing location shows everywhere, but there's just something special where you get to eat and smell like barbecue for the rest of the day because of Blue Ember Smokehouse.
That's,
so shout out to
real.
them. A few other chats here before we dive into that. Let's see. Josh says, Curtis, the comp you made to this year's team in 24 UK is wild with the numbers. Better pray Oakland isn't opposite of y'all though. LOL. I was so pissed at that game,
dude. Yeah, because I mean we've heard that a lot from Kentucky fans and everything, and finally I heard it enough to where I'm like, all right, fine. I'm gonna go break it all down. So I took the KenPom page for Arkansas right now and the KenPom page from Cal's last Kentucky team. I put it side by side on a graphic and pulled it up. It's the same team.
It's crazy.
It's the exact same team. The way the rosters are built, the exact same. Their trajectory at this point in the season, both 16-6. Like, it's just uncanny. But I did make sure to point out Arkansas's defense actually substantially better than that Kentucky defense. And just because those teams mirror each other from a roster and play type standpoint doesn't mean that Arkansas is going to go to the round of 64 and get beat by Jack Golke.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that. That Kentucky team could have very easily gone and scored 100 points on everybody they played and made a Final Four. They didn't, but they could have.
You're 100% right about that. So much so that I was literally just about to and listen, this is not revisionist history. I remember in that moment. Do you remember we were in Arlington and they played Bama? And I think they beat them like 120-90 or something like that. Like, they smacked Bama.
Yes, I do.
And they had they went through a stretch from like January to like late February. They were like not only the best offense in college basketball, it wasn't even close. Like, they were putting up stupid numbers. You could do the Torvik thing where you're like, since this date, they're the best, whatever.
Yep.
I think if we replay that year in that NCAA tournament 10 times, I think there's at least 2 or 3 simulations where they go to an Elite Eight Final Four, and there's some where they win the literal title.
Yeah,
which
I think so too.
Listen, and when we talk about this compared to this Arkansas team, every time Arkansas loses a game, people always say, "Oh, see, their ceiling's just not as high as we thought." And I just don't think that's the right way to think about it. I think that the right way to think about it is their floor is really low.
Facts,
and
yes.
it is, and it's going to remain really low. It's very possible this Arkansas team gets cracked in the first round.
It is, man.
Yeah, I don't think it affects what their capability is, and I think that Kentucky team is a prime example. I think that team in Kentucky had a Final Four ceiling at least.
Mm-hmm.
Curtis just said Arkansas is an elite level defense. You heard it here.
Yeah, best defense, and they're guaranteed to go to the Final Four is what Curtis said.
Because I'm thinking about that now, and it's like because we're all very frustrated by Arkansas's defense at the moment. It's like, come on, man. There's no excuse for them to be as poor as they are on that end of the floor right now. They're 68th nationally. That's not good enough. Kentucky defense was outside the top 100.
That's hard.
How bad were they? And they still won enough games to get a 3 seed. So I don't know.
A few more here too. Like this from Hunter's like, Cal, just please get like 3 7-footers next season. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I would love if they did that. But in truth, and they're going to have to go rebuild the entire front court. You can't miss, man. Like he's got to hit on the front court guys this year. I'm not saying right now with Pringle, and there's still basketball left to be played. This time a year ago, we would have said, well, they completely whiffed on Jonas, and he was hurt. It wasn't his fault, but he really contributed some good things down the stretch. I hope Nick Pringle does the same. But if you look at that right now, he ain't giving you what you thought he was. And Malik Ewan getting better, making contributions, but the entire thought process behind getting him was, all right, you know how talented this dude is, but can John Calipari pull the Boogie Cousins and get him to start doing the things that he doesn't want to do to become the type of player that he can be? Not seeing that yet. And so that's been a problem for Arkansas, man. The pain is sweet. They got to go out there and rectify that. They need to overcorrect from that standpoint, in my opinion. You got to get a monster. You got to get a rim protector. They got to replace Trevin. They got a lot of work to do. So 3 7-footers sounds good to me.
Real quick, I feel like Cal has not hit on the transfers at Arkansas. Like, not saying that all of them bad. I'm just saying they have not. None of them almost lived up to the expectations.
They are 0 for 4 in living up to expectations. They are.
And that's what's kind of scary.
Which shout out to Jonas Adu for making the G League All-Star game. He beat out Charles Bediako for the All-Star spot there. So good on him.
Good for him.
But no, it's true, man. It doesn't mean that those guys didn't help. Nelly was great in the Sweet 16, and he had his moments, but it's the number 1 transfer in the portal. Did he play like it all year?
Yeah,
of course
before
not.
anybody gets mad, they're like, oh, what about the Duke Hero and DJ White? I'm not counting the Kentucky transfers. Like, it's not really a transfer to play for the same coach, but either way. All right, a few quick ones real quick. Let's see. Pooh Bear says, Curtis, 5-star Lincoln Cosby 2027 is reclassified 2026. We need to go get him.
Isn't he a wing, though? I could be wrong. I don't know that much about him, but I know who you're talking about. I think he's a wing. I don't know, man. It seems like that's all you have on next year's roster right now. I'll take all the 5-stars that they can get, but I like Akizi, the 5-star 7-footer that they're trying to get to reclass. Sign me up for that.
Also, seen the release, I guess, of when J.J. Andrews was named to the McDonald's All-American. You know, I know it's great, but like reading that release and seeing just how Cal, truly how successful he is at getting 5-star in McDonald's. Like, literally, he's averaging 2 5-stars a year in his coaching career.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, that's insane. So, anyways, I just thought that was really, really cool. And shout out to J.J. Andrews. Can't wait to see him play. The first, like Arkansas kid under Cal, like recruit, and then the first Arkansas kid since, is it Nick Smith?
To be on McDonald's All-American.
Well,
guy?
just like that caliber of a player from Arkansas to stay at Arkansas and be a Razorback. Like,
yeah, Nick Smith would be the last 5-star in-state that went to Arkansas.
Yeah, because Layden wasn't quite there. He didn't make the McDonald's game, right? Layden didn't make the McDonald's game.
I don't think so.
And then Sealy, top 100 guy, but he wasn't a 5-star, wasn't a burger boy.
Moses and KK, were those guys burger boys or no?
I don't. Moses might have been.
Yeah.
I think Moses was for some reason because he played on the team too with what's his name that went to Oklahoma State in high school. I know
Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, Cade Cunningham. So, but his point is like,
but
hey,
none of them were 5-stars,
right?
Those guys, yeah,
right, yeah. Because it's crazy to think there was a time where KK was ranked higher than Moses.
Was Moses an McDonald's All-American?
I wanted to say for some reason he was, but like at the same time, I know he wasn't a 5-star, which I know is not the know-all, end-all, be-all, but. I wanted to say it was close to it. So while you look that up, a couple other chats real quick for David. Says, when my son starts getting recruited by Dave Van Horn, I'm giving Ellis all the inside scoop at all times.
Yeah, I think this should be a prerequisite. Like if anyone in the chat listening, if your son is even being looked at by a Razorback baseball coach, what do you think?
I was checking because yes, first of all, Moses was a McDonald's All-American in 2020, but I was typing in to Google like, was Moses Moody a McDonald's, and then it just you know how it like fills the sentence in for you and just said employee.
Hey, you know who was a McDonald's employee? AJ DeBanza. Which that's the worst video worst video to have out there. There's a video of AJ DeBanza like handing out bags in McDonald's gear, probably when he was at the All-American game. Every time he has a bad game, it's like, oh, here's the DeBanza. that's a tough one. But yeah, if anybody has a son that's being recruited by Arkansas in any sport, frankly, if you don't tell us about it, that shows us we're not really boys.
Yeah, that's a tough look for you. So, but still,
sorry, that tickled me, man.
Still, shout out to honestly, you know, we talked about a lot about this, but Muss with the greatest picture that I still will never forget of him just staring at 3 McDonald's burgers on his desk.
Beautiful.
Like that was when. You know, I love Muss still to this day, but that moment, because they just went to the Elite Eight, unfortunately lost to Duke, but like that moment right there, I'm like, Muss is my guy. Like he was peak. When he put that picture up, I'm like, this man could run for governor and I would vote for him for the state of Arkansas. So,
yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it was. Well, fellas, any final thoughts before we get out of here? Fly from Blue Ember and Rogers?
I love coming out here. My final thought is let's hurry up and wrap this up so we can get into these things.
It's getting cold over here.
That looks ridiculously good, and I'm a little upset that it's not going to be on the actual menu for what do you say, a month or two. But
but we get special access.
I was going to say, we'll. Do you know who we are?
Yeah, exactly. Pull that card out.
Yeah, I like that. Well, I don't have any final thoughts either, other than appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. We always appreciate it, and make sure you're checking out all of our other content. Curtis is going at it with this pod at the Palace and just getting through this week the best he can. We got a couple bombastics this week, one of which was an hour plus long last night. Appreciate everybody who tuned in for that. But we appreciate you guys.
Michelle, any final thoughts? Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Yeah. All right.
There you go. So I just had to make sure we got everybody included into this. So, but I would ask Wesley, but I'm afraid he'd start crying. But either way, we appreciate all of you, though, tuning in and hanging out with us here at Inside Arkansas Live. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas. All of the great content covering all things Razorbacks going on right here. You can also find all of our audio podcasts wherever podcasts are found. And really appreciate Blue Ember Smokehouse here in Rogers. Again, they have 6 different locations across the state of Arkansas that you can check out personally. And don't forget, they got the Smokehouse that you can check out. $70 that feeds 4 to 6 people. your choice of 2 meats, which is a pound each. Brisket's $5 more, but it's worth it. You can also get a choice of 2 sides, which is a quart each, 6 buns or toast. And then, of course, they have the nachos on Mondays. They got the tacos on Tuesdays. And they got the chicken sandwich on Fridays for $5.99. You can't get that Chick-fil-A or any of these other places. You get a better chicken sandwich for a better price right here at Blue Ember in their 6 locations in Arkansas. And that'll do it for us today. For Andrew Ellis, Curtis Wilkerson, intern Cameron, Michelle, and Wesley, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.